but it's something in the past that I was like, this is something I don't want to talk about Tanner on the podcast in like a mean way. So don't record this.
Yeah, Miss Reddy's some gonna be bills.
Tell me a little bit about yourself that people won't, so people get an idea who you are and how we know each other.
My name's Emma, and met these beautiful people at a workplace, and it was I don't know, I clicked with both of you guys like really immediately. I think what it was you guys have a level of authenticity that I really appreciated, because it's like normally in a work environment, people are always trying to be I don't know, like really only a certain part of themselves and everything else is kind of hidden, like that work persona bullshit. And both of you were really funny, and I don't know, that's the type of person I want to be around. I don't know what else to say.
That's perfect.
Yeah. Okay.
Oh, and how do you know us?
Yeah, I'm Katherine. Yeah, we met at work, and I was sharing an office space with Billy at first. And yeah, you were just like funny. And then I think we like just got into like esoteric topics like pretty quickly. And when I learned that you knew about like Drunvalo Melchizedek and like the Merkaba and the sacred space of the heart and stuff like that, I was like, that is such a rare like training piece that I don't meet in a lot of people. So like when I heard you say that, I was like, oh, like this is like a soul connection that I'm like supposed to pay attention to. Oh. And then Emma, you interviewed me, like you like brought me onto the team. You were like my main point of contact. And like immediately, like even from our first interview, I like felt comfortable with you, and you were like, I enjoyed your like artistic talents. So I was like, okay, this is somebody that I want to like not only be friends with, but like learn from artistically. And then after an interview, I texted her and I was like, thanks so much, Sam. Like I had a great day. And I was like, oh my God, I mean Emma.
Yeah, that's my last name.
And you were totally cool about it. And I was like, all right, this is going to be good. Dude, it's going to be fine.
No, yeah, I thought it was hilarious that you actually apologized. Like I appreciated that, because I feel like most people would have just like acted like they didn't do anything, like they didn't say anything kind of weird. That's been my experience before. Like I had a boss that accidentally texted me when he meant to text his wife, and he said something like, enough time for some head and cuddles. And and when he saw me after that, he just acted like nothing happened. And I acted like nothing happened. Yeah. And it was really funny. But like the fact that you actually acknowledged that you called me Sam and not my first name, I was like, okay.
And it wasn't like I was like being cool, like calling you by your last name. It was like, nah, I literally just top of the head was like, yeah, her name's Sam, right?
Yeah. Dude, honestly, that happens a lot though. Because I have like two first names essentially. And that's my full name. So,
but yeah, you were super cool about it. And that, yeah. Plus we had to work together so closely, and like, you know, when shit hits the fan. Am I allowed to curse?
Of course.
Okay.
You can do anything today.
We were able to bond and talk honestly. And that was like, I think deepened our friendship in the workplace setting, like pretty quickly.
Yeah, dude. Yeah. I mean, I met you when I was kind of going through some shit too with my family.
Oh, yeah.
And you were so gracious about just like letting me be however I was, like anytime I came in, if there was some shit. And also I was allowed, well, you know, like you were totally cool with me being on the phone with like hospitals and family. And I was just like speaking rapid Chinese, and you were like, whatever about it. So I don't know. I appreciated that a lot.
I forgot. Yeah, I forgot that was all going on.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I remember when I first interviewed, you were there with Shelby, and it was so funny because you were like the third Asian person I met in Colorado. So I was also like, oh, thank God, there's like someone here. And even though I'm so used to like not having a lot of Asian people around, but it was so nice to see. And then I feel like we clicked. I kind of just got you like instantly.
Yeah, you did.
Just because I kind of was like, like knowing everyone is probably crazy and you seem not as crazy.
Thank you.
Or like I asked like literally what's your favorite content or whatever. And I just remember how you responded and talked about the job. It was just like not that serious. So I kind of was like, oh, I'm going to get along with you.
What did I say about the content? Do you remember?
I have no idea.
I probably said something about Bill Burr because I love Bill Burr.
Probably. But then I also remember, yeah, like, and then you said something like, oh, you're really refreshing. And I was like,
Yes.
Here, I'm refreshing. Like, and then I instantly was like, oh, like, oh, everyone here, I kind of got the vibe. But also it was like so nice to hear because no one really tells you like that kind of truth or that genuine info at first.
That's the fucking thing. That's
especially
what I liked
the
about
people
both
we were
of you.
working with at the time weren't also like that. And then I just remember meeting you, Catherine, and knowing more about you before I met you from like Adam and everyone else, because you had history there. And so I instantly was like, oh, she's coming back, but why? I was like,
Well, that's what
but then
I was
after
worried about.
we talked, we got it.
Dude, I was like trying to get you to sign up as a contractor because I was like,
I
it's
remember
fucking
that.
crazy. I wasn't trying to, but I wanted you to know that that was like a fucking option.
You were giving me really honest direction.
Yeah.
And I knew where you're coming from, but you also didn't want to like say too much.
Yeah.
Like explicitly.
Yeah.
But I got the vibe and I was like, okay, like this is somebody that's going to like have my back.
Yeah.
And,
100%. And
Yeah.
same for you. I was worried because you were moving across the country and I was like, I want you to know what's up. But because there's other people in the interview, like I didn't want to be so explicit.
Mhm.
I don't know. Did you get the vibe from me that like maybe it's fucking
No,
crazy?
because honestly, when the interview happened and that hawk landed on the tree, I was like, I got this job.
Yeah, you did. Dude,
I was like, that's a sign.
Yes.
you're so
It
creative
was so funny.
and you're so fucking capable. I was
Mm.
like, we need that sort of blood in here.
Yeah. And I instantly knew there was no, I know what I'm getting myself into. But then I also remember when I met you, Catherine, and then I was like, what's your TikTok and Instagram?
I was
like
just going to say that.
instantly
That's
just
actually how I
stalked
think how we
everything of
became.
you. And I was like, I know her now. Like,
Dude,
That was it. You came in one day and you were like, oh, I watched all your TikToks. And I was like, oh my God, he knows me now. Like, and it's all out there. But you resonated with it and you thought it was funny. So I was like, we're friends now.
yeah, I was laughing with you, not at you at
Yeah.
all. And then I remember just being like, hey, everyone's like, oh, yeah, I'm Catherine. I'm like, check out her TikTok.
Yeah, that's what you did.
You
You
sent it around.
you showed it to me and I died laughing. And I was like, I need to be friends with her. Like,
that
this
is
so
like,
funny.
and the thing with like my internet presence is like, I don't think anybody's going to see it, which is
Right.
the opposite of what the internet is. But for some reason, I just think it's like my own little safe void to just put out whatever comes to the top of my dome. And you like sent it to so many people.
So I was like, thank God there's someone who's like not at all worried about what people think or anything like that. And then just it's how you reacted to me sharing it was so sweet and cute because you're always embarrassed, but also like, yeah, that's me.
I know.
Like, fuck
I was
it.
like, I posted it. I can't. What am I going to do? And I wanted to post it at the time. Like, yeah, it brings me great joy to post like 3 a.m. TikToks of just like whatever I was doing. And like, if one person laughs at it, I'm like, oh, I am seen. Yeah.
Even though you want to be famous.
I do want to be famous.
I think
yeah.
you should be famous.
I just want to do it in a roundabout way.
Yeah.
I don't want to
In
like,
your own way.
Yeah.
Like stumble into it sort of thing.
yeah. Because I feel like if I try and force it or like I tell people I want that, but like, I don't know. Yeah. If I'm like trying to force it, if I'm like trying to follow like some kind of path, it feels like
Right.
plasticky.
Right.
It feels
Mm.
like not myself.
Mhm.
Yeah, like contrived.
Yes. Yeah.
Mhm. Well, I'm so happy that we stayed in touch, even though it's so hard to stay in touch with you.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
I feel like I have to pull you from like the ether. Like when you're like not around, like you're hella not around.
I know, dude. I think I've been actually like reflecting on that because I'm like living with like we just moved in together, me and my boyfriend, and like he's like has introverted moments, but then is also like really social. And I feel like I'm like, oh my God, am I like Oscar the Grouch? Like, do I just like actually never want to leave my house and do things? And it kind of is like that. And I'm trying to work on that because every time I'm like, oh, I don't want to go. And then I go, I have a great time.
Mm-hmm.
And so I'm just like, what is that part of my brain that's like, no, just like stay home, be safe or something like that. Like, or just like even my phone, like my phone stresses me out. But then it's like, but I don't want to be alone. I don't want to not be in contact with you guys. So like, I'm trying to figure out what that mechanism is going on with me, whether it's like self-protection or like hermiting, because I don't think it's the best.
Yeah.
Whatever you would call it.
I can totally relate to that actually. I think from my perspective, like I don't want to project onto you, but like my experience with it is like, I think a control thing. It's like when I'm in my home space by myself or, you know, with my partner that I live with, it's like, oh, I can anticipate all of the shit that's going to happen today. It's like, I already know what's going to happen. I don't have to prepare for anything, but like going out into the world, even though that's probably more, it's like a double-edged sword. It's like more variety and that offers, you know, opportunity for growth and for challenge, but it's also like, oh, well, fuck, I'm getting challenged and I have to adapt and change. Does that make any sense? You guys know what I mean?
That's real. That's definitely real. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, because I feel like any change that you are invited to or kind of just shows up for you, your brain's always going to be like, but why?
Yeah.
Like, we're fine right now.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, it's
like,
more comfortable to stay where you are than try something new. And I definitely had to deal with that like debilitating chaos. I called it because I just would never do anything, especially in high school. But then the one thing that got me out of it is I saw this movie Blow.
Oh, I love that
Johnny
movie.
Depp,
Yeah.
whenever he gets in like a horrible situation, he's like, fuck it. So then I was like,
Yep.
that's all I got to do. Just fuck it.
Dude.
Because then everything that happened after that, and then when I would go out, I'd have like a great time and nothing that I would worry or be anxious about ever happened.
That's so funny though. That was my motto in high school too. I took, fuck it.
It's
like
great.
it was I took it a little too far though, in a lot of ways. Like, no, I for real did. Like, yeah, I was on a fast track to being like an unhomed person, like drug addict. No, I don't know, like holding a baby on the side of the road, like trying, I didn't go that far, but it was definitely the trajectory if I had kept up with that shit. Yeah. A balance.
So
right?
like you would say fuck it when it came to like doing things that you knew maybe wouldn't benefit you?
It was like, I kind of think of it as like a neurotic and fucked up hippie. Like, cause in my head, it was always like, fuck the man. I had like this Robin Hood mentality where it was like, I can steal whatever I want. And like, that's okay because fuck the man. Like I would never steal from my friends or anything, but like I hella stole from like people that I perceived as wealthy, which is like most of the population when you're a broke teenager. So like anybody that was older than me, you know what I mean? And like had any sort of established financial situation, they were fair game. Obviously like major corporations, a lot of just unconscious behavior. Like I was not conscious at all, but I thought I was. I thought I was so fucking like awake. That was the result of just doing a lot of drugs and I think entitlement on my end. I used to talk to a lot of homeless people though. That was kind of cool.
They got stories.
Yeah, they do.
Dude, I was absolutely the same.
Yeah?
And yes. I didn't say fuck it, but unconsciously I was like, reckless abandon. Like,
yes. Abandonment. Yeah.
I don't care. To the point where like you don't take care of yourself. And then it's like, you're actually in a lot of dangerous situations now. And like, your family's worried about you. And you're like, yeah, like my mom. And I was like, nah, actually, if my daughter is doing that, I'd be terrified. Like,
I would, exactly, dude.
Because I really don't, I know both of you talk about your past in that way, but I don't really know anything besides the general stuff you say.
Yeah.
Is there anything you want to share that's like more specific or like things that you have like evolved from that people could learn from or it's something like that?
Yeah.
I actually like have been thinking about this a lot. So I'm in recovery. Like I do AA, like 12 step. So when you're talking about the control thing, I feel like that's like so accurate because I like view my past self as this like reckless, like ill-behaved, like warpath girl, addict, teenager, whatever you want to call it. And then like I view myself now as like I am really controlling, like because I like don't want to like unleash that part of my brain or something. Like there's a fear there that like that will just kind of like rush back in and I'll just like lose everything that I have worked for, like all the stability, all the good relationships, like I will just like lose it again. So I do think I have like that tightness around it. And like when I first got sober, like I literally thought I was just like, well, I can't have fun anymore. Like I just got to be tight-laced. I got to have a good resume. I got to fucking be safe. Like, and I've slowly been it's been 6 years. Like I've slowly been like trying to not only like reintroduce that like you can have fun and excitement and it doesn't mean your life's going to go haywire, but also like having compassion for my younger reckless self.
Yeah.
Like because she just wanted to have fun.
Yeah.
Like, and she was fun.
Yeah.
Okay.
You're still fun.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah. Just like that loving energy towards it instead of like demonizing. Because it seems like so far away from who I am now, but it also is like a core part of me.
What was that kind of person like?
My motto in high school was, I do what I want. And it came at the cost of, I mean, I was a good friend to a point, but yeah, like stealing big corporations, they owe me. Like,
yes.
Dude, just like Forever 21, just like my personal closet. But I just wanted to have fun, honestly. Like, and that meant like getting high or drunk to the point of oblivion. Like, I don't think I did a piece of homework for the last 2 years of high school, but somehow I passed. And I also like did okay on my SATs and like got into college, like, and then promptly failed out of college so fast because I had no structure or self-discipline. I didn't go to class. I didn't study. I was addicted to Adderall. Like I would just stay up all night, and I was going to school for like art and graphic design. So I would do kind of good in those classes because I cared a little bit about them.
Mm-hmm.
Like, but it also looked like me staying up all night on way too much Adderall, like speeding, like, and drawing and painting, like bringing my painting to class wet.
Dude, I've been like,
yes.
Yep.
And just hoping they don't notice that there's literally paint all over my hands because I'd literally just finished this project, like, and just squeaking by and just like being really empty inside, spiritually and emotionally, like just a shell of a human. I didn't have an eating disorder, but I didn't eat. I didn't drink water. Like, no way.
Right.
So yeah, just like escaping myself, not taking care of myself.
Did something trigger that, or did you just want to have fun and that was it?
I think it was a slow progression, but if I'm psychoanalyzing myself, I feel like I have like a big, fun personality most of the time. And when I was young, I was so deathly shy and quiet. And like middle school, like I did not talk. And so like for some reason, when I got to high school, like I don't want to say like got pretty, but like kind of like, and
well, I saw your high school photos.
Yeah. Crop tops. I just kind of like, oh, like I don't have to be the quiet, shy person anymore. There's this whole world of like older people and people inviting me to parties that like I can be a part of. And it like excited me so much. And then like once I just discovered just that internal feeling of being high or drunk, it was like, this is my personality. I am drugs.
Did that open you up more, or like because you were shyer or something like that?
Yeah.
kind of like,
it just like gave me the space to like, it bypassed that part of my brain that was self-conscious.
right.
And allowed me to just like be myself, which people liked.
Right.
So it was like cool. And like now I know I don't need to use drugs to do that. But just when you're like, oh my God, when you're like a young adolescent, like teenager, you're just like riddled with self-conscious anxiety and your body's changing and it's freaking weird. Like, and the social dynamics of high school are like cutthroat.
Definitely.
Yeah. So.
And then what got you out of it then?
Oh,
what got you like wanting to be sober?
My life was poor. I got myself in a lot of dangerous situations that like still traumatize me when I think back on them. Just because I would black out. I was a blackout drinker. Like just had and just some creature came out of me when I was blackout and just did things that were so incongruous, if that's a word, like with my sense of self and who I thought I was and how I wanted to behave. So just like deep shame from that. And then, but actually, so I would take like really long road trips by myself into the wilderness, Utah, New Mexico, whatever. So I was living here in Colorado with my brother, living in his apartment. I didn't have a job. I didn't know anybody out here. I only knew him. Like, and I decided it would be chill if I just drove to LA. Why? Who's to say? Just that's what I wanted to do. And I ended up like meeting some homeless kid van friends there, and they gave me acid and I was like tight. And literally it was an acid trip that was like, yo, you are gonna be the homeless lady on the street. That is your trajectory. And like the friendliness that I felt towards these like other like homeless kids, when I was on acid, I realized that there was no connection there. They would not have my back. There was no safety there. It was so service level and survival mode for everyone in that situation. Like, and I just felt that deep sense of unsafety. And I was like, actually, I do want to be connected in the world. I do want to have some stability. And like, it was like a really, really eye-opening trip. I'd never had like a bad trip before. That was a bad trip. I was like, it was like 6-hour panic attack, like, and like in downtown LA, like, and like Hollywood.
Wow.
I remember like, I forget the street names, but it was not a chill place to be. And that scared me enough that I like think it like rocketed me into my sobriety and like, but then also like God, I was like really spiritual and the universe and whatever. And I just felt like, like the universe wants more for me than this like tiny starvation existence that I've created for myself. Yeah.
Wow. And then how long have you been sober?
I've been sober 6 years. My sobriety date is April 7th, 2017. And I really do attribute that to like AA. And I don't think I'd be sober without AA. And I know it's not for everybody, but it works for me. And I needed the structure of the 12 steps and then the community that I found, which I also feel is from the universe, like placed amazing people, young women who like showed me that I can like go out, have fun, still be cool. Like being sober and like straight edge doesn't mean you're like this like prude, like boring person. So that was just that was just luck of the draw that I like got sober here and like met all these girls like that, held my hand through that like early period of just like, I just did a 180 in my life and I don't know what to do. Yeah.
And was yours similar, Emma?
I relate a lot to what you're saying for sure. I did not take off on road trips by myself. But that was more of like a financial reason. I'm trying to think, because it's like you said so much, and like honestly, you and I would have been fucking like best friends in high school. I think the striking difference though, and Billy, I wonder how much you can relate to this, but like growing up, I lived with very, very strict Asian parents. I'm like first generation American, but there was like a bit of an identity crisis, I think. Like most of my childhood, I was exactly how you described, Billy, like very like a loner. I didn't go outside. I was like super into books and video games, drawing, just like being by myself. And I wasn't really allowed to have friends, like my parents were pretty strict about that. They were like, no strangers are allowed at the house and you shouldn't go out because you might get kidnapped. So like you need to stay here. And I was just always like, okay, yeah, I'm like the good child. Like I think that was my family role. And then when I hit like the end of middle school, beginning of high school, I was like, whoa, friendships, like people. And like, I don't know if I got pretty or anything. Like, I don't know if that's how I would describe it. Cause like, yeah, I don't know. But I just went fucking wild. Like I was doing a lot of drugs. It'd be like a Wednesday and I'm like, oh, let me just eat this entire package of cold medicine so I can trip. Cause that's cool. That's different. And that was pretty fucking reckless. Like I did that all the time. I'd be like, oh, like, I don't know, it's Tuesday. I'm trying to roll face and like lay down on the sidewalk after school. Like, I ended up dropping out actually when I was a sophomore, and I thought I had it all figured out. Like there was definitely a bit of this like Superman mentality where I was like, nothing can touch me. Like I'm fucking like, I'm beyond all of it. I was like, I'm going to drop out and start college, be an artist, and like just fucking get ahead of everybody and everything. So I already know what I want to do. And I ended up getting pregnant because Superman mentality and like super impulsive, super self-destructive. And like I was initially planning on doing an abortion, but the person that impregnated me was very adamant about how our genetics were so amazing that we needed to bring this child to existence. And I was like, yeah, okay. And planned on doing an open adoption, which is what we did. My like biological child that is not my child, but is my child is fucking amazing. She's beautiful and gorgeous. And, I hate to admit it, but he was like totally right. She's super smart and also kind. So it's a beautiful combination. But yeah, like after that, I was just trying to get my shit together. I kind of like overcorrected hella hard. Like I became really militant and rigid, and my friends were not on that tip at all. And they regularly called me like too sober. Because I was just always like, you put the fucking dishes in the dishwasher the wrong way, like that sort of attitude, which was not balanced at all. And now I'm trying to like find that balance between all sides of myself. Yeah.
And was there a time though for you that you knew that you needed to change things, or did things happen to you to change that?
Well, it was a bit of both, right? Because like coming from I was a very, very deceptive person in my youth. Like I was super manipulative, lying. I was really good at lying, really good at just getting whatever I wanted. And in my head, like that's where I look back and I'm like, yeah, I was super entitled, super bratty. I think it all stems from wanting my parents to be more present, because like they worked like 12-hour days and they were gone all the fucking time. And I'd be like, hey mom, I need you to sign this like permission slip to go on a field trip. And she like would not even look at me because she's just like so conked out and trying to watch TV to unwind because she like spent 12 hours doing a bunch of work. Like, so I think that was like the rebellion stage, right? That I went through. Like I literally did every single thing that parents fear their kids would do. And I felt like I was always trying to like increase the severity. And it's like every single time that didn't work, I just went another step higher. Getting like busted for, I don't know, it's like marijuana possession and like dumb shit. Like I was on probation on and off. And then once I hit 18, I was like, fuck, I don't want to go to actual jail. Like, I'm not ready for all that. But like I had my biological daughter at 17. Got pregnant when I was 16, had her at 17. And then after that, it was like another identity crisis, like a continuation of like those childhood issues that I was trying to work out. Because for the entire time that I was pregnant, I was completely sober, but all of my friends were still partying and I had like no real support because all of our brains are underdeveloped and nobody has any emotional capacity. So I was like, I felt like my entire life, I've always been in situations where I had to like grow up a little bit faster, like as a kid, I was like 4 years old. The moment I could read and write, my parents were giving me like government forms to fill out for them because they're not fluent in English at all. So it's like when I got pregnant, that was definitely the huge wake up call. But right when I had the baby and I was like, oh, I'm not responsible for any other life now. I was like trying to go back to my old life to like, I don't know, just try to like pick up where I left off because that felt the most stable, but it didn't work. Like none of it made any sense anymore. So that was probably the wake up call.